Welcome aboard the Bag Tag Pod. In today's episode, we're discussing the chaos of summer travel. Before we have a heated debate from the seat pocket, are Biscoff cookies to be enjoyed on airplanes only? Plus, we follow up from last week's trip as we unpack the summer wedding and discuss our review of MSP Terminal 2. Then, find out what in the world is going on with French air traffic control, along with an update on Boeing. Finally, we share our thoughts on the Airplane movie with a full review. Before we take off, the bag tag is brought to you by Cruising Altitude. Cruising Altitude lets you live the dream and wear the experience. Flying is not just a means of transportation, but a gateway to a lifestyle of adventure. Cruising Altitude brings you exploration and dreams and designs them into every seam. Head to cruisingaltitude.net. That is cruisingaltitude.net. All right, sit back, relax, and enjoy the pod.
Till I drop, gonna be 24/7 golden hour like a boss. And they say, yo, guess you got a 2 o'clock appointment for a champagne shop, oh yeah. I'm busy trying to take it higher, got no time for never, only spending cheddar. Wish I could do this forever. Chilling with the hottest company, they all wanna welcome me to their private penthouse suite. Yeah, now I got the key. Rooftop pool, got a heli on speed. Ocean view from the highest peak. I'm complete. Oh, I want this to stay. Please don't go away. Yeah. Sunny days, sunny days, sunny days.
Okay, we have to start off today by giving a quick shout out to our followers.
Yes,
For
we love them.
We love all of you, all 40 of you.
On the gram.
For giving us things that you want us to discuss, debate, and just cover during our episodes. So we will be sure to continue mixing in your ideas and your questions into our shows. So make sure that you're tuning in to see if we answer or discuss one of your suggestions.
Yes, we got a lot of great topics and things we're excited to talk about. So over the next handful of weeks, we'll mix them in. So yeah, definitely tune in. But for this week, I have to say, I think I am in trouble with our bet.
Oh, why do you say that?
The airport was disgustingly crowded when we came back to Seattle.
Oh, God. Yeah, it was.
It felt like at the end of a sporting event when they're just trying to usher everyone out.
Yeah, like they funnel you all to one
And
space.
everyone's just eager to get out of there. They just want to get back to their cars. Same situation here. Everyone just wanted to get out of the airport. We were all funneling. We're all like trying to find the nearest exit. But it was so crowded and no one was paying attention whatsoever. It was getting a little irritating.
It was super irritating because by the time we got off the plane, it was so freaking late.
Yeah, it was like 10:45.
No, we landed
Oh,
at
right.
10:45,
Yeah.
which wasn't that bad. We didn't even get to deplane until like an hour later because there was still a plane at
You got
the
to
gate.
finish your movie because we sat there for so long.
I know, we sat there for so long. Oh my gosh, I literally was like, well, I guess I'll just turn my movie back on, and then ended up being able to freaking finish it because,
No, keep going.
Oh.
I had something I was going to say, but you were really passionate about your movie, so.
Look, for those of you wondering, I was watching Divergent.
Good books, not great movies.
Not great movie, but I will say it was a great plane movie. But
That's true. That is. We'll have to note to future selves. We'll have to do like a ranking or like a Mount
Of
Rushmore
plane
of
movies?
best plane movies.
But I had done the time calculation wrong because like we left Central hours, but we were landing in Pacific hours. So I knew what time we were landing Pacific time, but my phone was still on Central time. So I was trying to do the math of like how long I had. And so I thought I had like 2 hours left, but we only
pesky
had
time
the
zones.
1 hour. So I was only halfway through Divergent when the plane landed, and I turned it off in anticipation of being able to get off, and then was able to finish it. So that's how long we sat there on the tarmac.
Well, it was annoying because it gets so stuffy. They like turn off the air. Why? I don't know. But it gets extremely stuffy, and it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but I was thirsty, and the flight attendant took away my water, which we'll get into later. But
That was so weird.
it still doesn't sit right with me.
And then we couldn't even get onto the shuttle to the parking lot because it was so crowded. And I swear to God, those guys, they were lying. They were gaslighting me. No shuttle had come. I was yelling at the guy because he wouldn't let us on, which we've been on shuttles where they've let people stand.
Yeah.
And he wasn't letting anybody else on because there were no more seats.
And he was guarding the door, too. That was the
And
annoying
I was
thing.
like, we've been waiting for 30 minutes. And he was like, that's impossible.
We had definitely been.
Like, my coworker has come by at least 3 times in the last 30 minutes. And I was like, I'm sorry, have you been waiting here with us? Like,
at this point, it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah, we were so freaking tired. Like, I just wanted to be home at that point. And then he was like, the next shuttle will be here in 5 minutes. 15 minutes later, one finally shows up. Like, that was ridiculous. I never want to park there again just because no one even said sorry. Like, even when we got back there, the valet guy with the key had the audacity to ask me, how are you doing? And I was like, I would have been a lot better if I didn't have to wait 40 minutes for a shuttle. And he was like, oh yeah, it's really busy tonight. And I was like, oh yeah. And he was like, we have 3 shuttles running, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, supposedly. Like, they didn't even say, sorry, thank you for waiting.
I was going to say, that's the thing, is I understand it's a really busy time, and, just working customer service when things get really busy is always a struggle, but it's the acknowledgement that, you know what, yeah, this sucks, like, we're sorry, like, well, I don't know, something to, like, validate that, yes, this isn't normal. You shouldn't have to wait this long. This isn't how it typically
Not
is.
saying it's impossible you waited this long. It's so busy, blah, blah, blah. Like,
or even like, hey, sorry, it will be another 10 minutes before the next shuttle, or 15 minutes.
Yeah, because even when we finally got on the shuttle, there were those people that pulled up, and he was like, next shuttle will be here in 5 minutes. Like, they didn't even say, sorry, we're full.
No.
They were literally just like, can't take you, wait 10 minutes for the next shuttle. And we were like, as if he might be here in 10 minutes. Like,
yeah, I know. You turned to the other people who were sitting there, and
she said something to me. Yeah. She was like, well, that's a lie. And I was like, yeah, it's a big fat lie.
I know.
I was so irritated.
But
well,
clearly we're not over our
Thanks for listening to us rant. Sorry. Now I'm over it.
But a refresher on what our summer travel bet was. We both made predictions before Memorial Weekend of what we thought would be the trend for the summer travel season.
And I bet that this summer would be the summer of tropical destinations, with people flocking down to like the Gulf Coast, the Bahamas, maybe Jamaica, things like that.
Yep, and I predicted that it would be the year of the road trip, but I couldn't have just left it at that. I don't know why I did this in hindsight, 2020, but I said we are going to have a higher growth in road trips than air travel compared to last year.
And I think we both know
from
our most recent experience that the number of people taking flights is definitely going up.
And kids are still in school. It wasn't like a holiday weekend.
There was no reason for that many people.
It was a Sunday night.
No,
yeah, so
that was terrible. And like SeaTac is always busy, but this was something else.
We've flown a lot out of there and nothing.
No, and like we've landed at this time, like we almost always land back home at this time, and it's never been like that before.
But I gotta say, even if I lose the bet, it's fun that everyone's like all in on travel this summer. I love all the extra energy, all the extra people here. You get to see and hear more stories and pictures, and so definitely tag us, comment, post, share your stories of your summer travels.
Yes, we love hearing about your summer travels.
Some big personal news. You recently became the snacks manager at work.
Yeah. I did. It's a lot of responsibility, you guys.
A lot of pressure.
We've had one person in our Seattle office who's been in charge of the snacks for like a year and a half, ever since we like moved to this new office. And her travel schedule and stuff for work has been shifting, and she was just like, I think it's time for me to pass the baton. So my manager and I are now in charge of the snacks.
It's a big deal. At one of our town halls, they called out.
Yes.
People were demanding more snacks, different snacks. It's
Okay,
a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. And we were talking about this. It's like not like pressure in the sense of like you're working on like a deliverable that has like a like set deadline and things like that. It's
And like measurable things that like you did well, you did bad. Like,
yes,
know.
this is like for people's like physical but also mental well-being in the office because it's like the snacks have such an impact on everybody's mood.
Once 1:00 rolls around, I got my eye on like 2, 3:00, and if I get the stuff I need done, I reward myself with a little treat from the snack wall.
Oh my gosh, I hit up the snack wall so much. It's probably for the best that I'm in charge of what we're getting, but yeah.
So you recently had your first order, and
Yes.
in that order, you had Biscoff cookies.
I did order Biscoffs, and before we start, I will say I've gotten some positive feedback on the Biscoff cookies. Thank you very much.
Biscoff cookies are good, but this brings us to the center focal point of this week's discussion, Seat Pocket discussion. Are Biscoff cookies acceptable to eat when you're not on an airplane?
Okay, so I am going to say yes for obvious reasons, but also because I was thinking about this and we're different in the sense that I am not one of those people that designates a certain snack or food can only be had in a certain setting.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm drinking a Mountain Dew Baja Blast as we speak. And to me, it's either while I'm eating Taco Bell or during the summer. I would not have this in January. Unacceptable.
Yes, I remember we were at Costco and they have Biscoff cookies at Costco. And I was like, should we get Biscoffs? And you were like, we can't get those. Those are a plain snack exclusively. And I was like, oh, okay.
The taste, the flavor, the crunch, all of it just brings the energy and the excitement of vacation, of a
Yes.
trip, of being on an airplane. And so if I'm sitting there on a Wednesday afternoon getting stressed about, I don't know, an upcoming presentation I have in an hour, and I need a little pick-me-up,
You can't have a Biscoff?
no, my brain will think I'm going on vacation, but I need to focus. I don't know. It's, to me, a Biscoff cookie is meant for 30,000 feet in the air, not when I'm down on the ground.
I guess that's fair. I can see why you do that, but I just am not that way. And I still am learning what foods and drinks can be had at certain times. Like when we were at your mom's house and I asked to have a piece of toast, and you and your sisters were all like, no toast at mom's house. Toast is dad's house only.
Okay, there was some validation somewhere out there on the internet a few years ago that there is such thing, at least when you have divorced parents. I'm sure it's similar kind of concept for other situations, but you have foods you eat at your mom's house, foods you eat at your dad's house. For whatever reason, they don't cross over. I'm sure, like, psychologically, mentally, there's something to do with, like, comfort. Like, oh, that's the comfort food at whatever your parents' house. So maybe, for me, the Biscoff cookie is my comfort food when traveling. So
Yeah.
I just can't eat it when I'm not on vacation. I will say, though, because this kind of contradicts what I said about 5 minutes ago, but I have slipped a Biscoff cookie into my backpack and eaten it at the hotel on vacation. So
Oh.
I guess if I do eat it on the ground,
It's while
it's
you're
while
on
I'm on
vacation.
vacation. But yeah, if it's in my backpack after the vacation, I mean, it's usually all squished and it's crumbs at that point, so it gets tossed. But
Because I think I brought you back a Biscoff one time when I flew somewhere without you. And I saved my Biscoff for you, and I don't even know if you ate it. I
so
think it
nice.
just sat on your desk for like ever and then got thrown away.
I'm going to pretend I don't know what happened. I actually don't know what happened, but
It was when I went, I think it was either when I went to
no,
LA
I remember
or
you bringing it back.
the
Yeah,
Biscoff.
yeah, it was when you went to LA for work last year.
Yeah. I don't think you ate it.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
Okay, so let us know, guys. Do you think it's acceptable to eat Biscoffs outside of the airplane?
Are Biscoffs a plain vacation food only? Let us know.
So funny because I feel like you wouldn't say that about pretzels. Pretzels are also an airplane snack.
Thing is, I feel like pretzels were like a big snack just in general, but I don't know anyone who had eaten Biscoff cookies. I feel like they got started from the airplane.
Oh my God.
What?
Condé Nast Traveler wrote an article. It says, why are Biscoff cookies so addictive? Because of its association with flying.
Thank you.
The Biscoff
Thank you.
cookie
They belong in the air.
can also lock into the sensory memory.
That's what I said. That's what I just freaking said.
That's so funny.
At least, even if people out there think I'm crazy, there's at least one other person who agrees with me, whoever wrote that article.
I guess in February 2020, United Airlines incurred some online wrath when they pulled Biscoff cookies from
Good.
their in-flight snack offerings.
See, I know recently Delta, they had Biscoffs as their staple snack, but they have since expanded. But they give you the option. Like, do you want the Biscoff or do you want these sun chips or pretzels or the nuts or breakfast bars they have?
I guess I might not be getting all the facts right because I'm just skimming this article, but I guess they were originally widely available in Europe, but they only recently became available in U.S. grocery stores, so that's why they were
Airplane.
at first only an airline snack.
Because
and
you could
now,
only...
yeah, because they were getting them from European manufacturers. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, they're from Belgium. They started in 1932. Delta began serving Biscoff. Oh, the name is supposed to be a mix between biscuit and coffee. That's where Biscoff comes from.
Is it like a coffee flavored cookie?
No, they are, I just was reading, they are a combination of ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, and cardamom.
I was going to say, that's, yeah, makes
They're
more sense. I was like,
very-
I don't think they taste like coffee.
No, they're akin to like gingerbread cookies. But Delta started serving them in flight
So
in the
good.
mid-80s. And then
They've had 'em around
United
that
and
long.
American started serving them as well. But Delta and Biscoff are particularly happy partners that the airline began serving Biscoff cookies stamped with the Delta logo in the late 90s. Interesting. This is slowly turning into a Biscoff 101.
No, this is good. This is important. The
Okay.
people need to know about Biscoff cookies because for whatever reason, I just remember getting Biscoff cookies in like 2010s. I didn't know this was
Yeah,
growing
so-
up, we used to always fly, I think it was Northwest, and they probably didn't have Biscoff cookies.
Yeah, so they'll probably never get rid of the Biscoffs because when whatever airline that was.
Okay, any other thoughts on the...
Nope, I think that's it. On Biscoff cookies.
There you go. You have the debate and the history. Let us know if you eat Biscoff cookies or if people should be allowed to eat Biscoff cookies.
Outside of the flight.
Yep.
/ vacation.
Mm-hmm.
They are a great cookie, not gonna lie.
All right. Time to unpack the summer wedding we attended in the land of 10,000 lakes.
Yes.
We'll start with the itinerary, what we did while we were there. So Friday, first day we were there, we worked from home on that grind before we snagged some dinner with the fam at Maynard's. If you ever go to Minnesota or know someone from Minnesota, this is a absolute classic summer spot. And if you ever plan to visit, it's a must stop in the summer.
It is a pretty good spot. Don't get it confused with what I learned is pronounced as Menards.
Yes, the
It's like Home Depot,
yeah,
basically.
it's like a local Home Depot, but I mean you can get nuts and screwdrivers at both Maynard's and Menards. So
It's because that one time we were there was that commercial came on for Menards.
save
and
big money at Menards.
I know, but before I heard the pronunciation,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was
They just
like-
have the logo in the corner of the
and I
commercial
was
the
like,
whole time.
I thought Maynard's was like a restaurant, and you were like, "That's Menards." So if you see, like,
if,
Menards,
if you're driving past Menards, do not go in looking for a plate of nachos.
but like Menards looks like it could be pronounced Maynards. If
No,
you
it's
don't
fair.
know.
The spelling is weird.
They're only missing one letter.
Yeah, but anyways,
Okay, so
Then
after that,
we're off to some wedding activities with the welcome event,
Yeah, the welcome event was at a super cute venue.
Stanley's.
Yeah, Stanley's. It was like on the upper level, so it was like private, which was nice. And they had like little fun things you could do. There was like darts, and there was this like ring on a string thing where you try to get it on the hook.
Like Dr. Seuss, ring on a string.
Sure. And there was the coin game.
Yeah, where you drop the coin in and then you just kind of ram your body and push the machine and hope all the coins fall off. Actually, it's very fitting now that I think of it because the groom I had gone to Wisconsin Dells with way back in high school, and every restaurant we stopped at along the way, they would have these coin games, and we would spend the entire time playing the coin drop game, and I'm pretty sure we even had an app, so while we were driving out there, we would play the coin drop game in the car ride. So
Like on your phone?
yeah, it was honestly we were degenerates, but very fitting.
I had never known of this coin game before, but apparently
It's like
very
gambling
popular.
for anyone who's not 18. Like you don't have to go to a casino to
Start
play
'em
this
young.
game. Yeah. Look at us now.
But yeah, it was fun that they had like different activities for the welcome event. You weren't just stuck standing around.
And I was going to say definitely a nice minor touch, but very important piece for if you're planning a wedding for the guests to have some kind of activity at something like a welcome event. Because if you don't know a lot of people, it's a super easy way to like start intermingling.
You can like chat with people while you're like playing a game, and it makes it like less awkward if you like don't know them already.
Yeah, and if you aren't great at small talk, you at least have the game or the activity that you guys can relate to whatever's happening. So definitely highly recommend, and something to consider if you still got to plan a wedding is games and activities at the welcome event.
I love games and activities at a welcome event. But after that, we did keep the party going, kind of.
We were trying.
Yeah, we got like 2 more drinks with a couple that lives in town, and then a couple that was visiting from New York at Vegas Lounge.
Vegas Lounge,
I
yep.
just remember the bartender's shirts said, "What happens at Vegas stays at Vegas."
And it was
and
fun
I
because
thought
they
that
were
was
all
funny.
the elderly bartenders.
Oh, yes.
And like serving staff.
Yes. Gave
But
me classy alley cat vibes.
Oh, wait, what's Alley Cat?
You never went there, well, with me at least, but it was a strip club in Waikiki where all the strippers are like 60 plus.
My gosh.
And they all had
An
like,
experience to say the least.
yeah, definitely an experience. I mean, they're pretty good. They all had like signature things that they would do, or like tricks, which I will not discuss because this is
family?
Is this family friendly?
Well, I do check the explicit box on
Oh, yeah.
Spotify and Apple when
I do be saying some bad
Upload them.
words. I apologize.
No, that's
I,
genuine, authentic.
we'll say that this is PG-13.
Yeah.
TV
MA.
MA.
Yeah. PG-13 plus.
Okay,
TVMA.
I still don't think I can discuss the things that go on at Alley Cats. But anyways, it gave me Alley Cats vibes, but they weren't strippers. They were bartenders.
Yes, they kept their clothes on.
Yes.
But I have to say, from the friend group, I was quite impressed with everyone's performance. For that first night, we all understood the assignment that night 2 was the party night. Sometimes, first night the group gathers when you have people from out of town. Get a little crazy, so
Yeah.
very impressed.
Yes. Then on day 2, basically all we did was get ready for the wedding.
Yes, I did go for a run. So the shoes were worth bringing this time.
I was
For-
shocked you were bringing those, but I guess it was
after
worth
the
it.
croc situation. And I had a feeling my friend group that we're doing a half marathon with, they were also invited to the wedding. So I figured we might get a pre-wedding run in, which we did. We ran about 6 miles,
Yeah,
give or
that's
take,
crazy.
around Lake Calhoun or Bade Makaska. I'm honestly not sure where we landed with the name these days, but it's a lake near Minneapolis. You get to see the city. Really pretty area, really great views. Highly recommend if anyone needs something to do in Minnesota.
And then after you got back from your impressive 6-mile run,
I was so tired.
then you did come back with brekkie sandwiches and coffee.
You didn't eat.
Clutch.
You didn't eat the sandwich.
I ate the tiny hashies. I was on a time crunch,
You
okay?
were.
I forgot I needed to paint my toenails, so I didn't allot myself enough time to get ready, okay?
Okay.
But I made it. I did finish getting ready. The
Never
breakfast
enough
sandwich
time.
was a sacrifice, but the little hashies came in clutch.
Sacrifice that we paid.
Then we went to your friend's parents' house.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a pregame. Felt like we walked into a zoo where the animals escaped and the zookeeper was trying to wrangle everyone back.
Lots of hair fixing, but I will say that updo, not to toot my own horn,
Toot toot.
came out really great.
It did look great. And we did get a tour of their place since they're redoing it.
We did have those Pink Whitney shots, though.
Yeah, her mom acted like I gave her just straight poison.
Yeah, I think
But she was
not
asking
pleased.
about them the night before, so I had to.
I mean, they were warm.
Yeah, they're extremely hot. It was like
That's what I
85
told her. We were
degrees
trying to
out,
tell her
and they
that
were in my pocket.
They taste better when they're cold.
It's just like boiled lemonade at that point.
Yeah, but like
Could be worse.
lemonade with like rubbing alcohol in it.
Yum.
And then we went to the hotel. We did get some actual drinks at the
Their
hotel bar.
and the hotel was super cool because it's across from a pond. Or no, it's across.
Oh my god!
No.
A pond? You
No, I
don't
was
see
gonna
those
say-
very often.
No, it's across. You know how you normally say across the street, but it's across the pond.
Okay.
That's where I was trying to get. Across the pond was the Vikings practice facility. Yep, the Minnesota Vikings, the football team.
That's
They
what
practice
makes
by a
it
pond.
cool. Not the pond.
No.
The practice facility.
Yeah, and the pond was fine. Should have taken a photo of the pond.
Yeah.
But the Vikings practice facility was right there, so you could see the field, and they had players out there, but couldn't really tell who they were. But it was still super cool.
I didn't even notice the pond, but the Vikings practice
I'm probably the
facilities
only
were
one who
cool.
noticed the
Yeah.
pond.
Well, now everyone's going to know that there was a pond there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went over to the wedding after, which was great. I thought the wedding was so fun. It felt very them, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like. The country club that it was at was so beautiful, and the Aperol Spritz welcome drink before the ceremony.
It was funny because there was a
incredible.
rumor going around that day that they might have Aperol Spritz for the ceremony. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we helped spread that rumor too after we heard. It was true, and it was great. Mm-hmm. And it was such a nice touch because the wedding was outside, and it was, the thing is, like, it was warm, but I don't remember being like, oh, I'm, like, really hot, you know?
No, I started to get hot when the sun was like shining right
Yeah.
on us because like my hair is dark, so my head gets really hot. But yeah, the Aperol Spritz, that was like a perfect little.
It helped keep us,
summer
and maybe that's
drink.
why it didn't feel that hot, because we had the
True.
Aperol Spritz while we were out there.
Yeah, that was an incredible touch. I also liked that one of their guest books was a set of shot skis.
Which was so perfect for the bride and groom, primarily the groom. Very much a him thing, but yeah, it was so perfect. I'm curious if they're gonna put that on display at their house or if it's gonna be in use.
Oh yeah, good point.
I imagine display like behind a bar or something.
Yeah, maybe it's like for special occasions you bring it out.
Yeah. But anyways,
We'll
that
find out.
was a fun touch.
And the band, I loved that they had a live band.
I had not been to a wedding probably since I was a kid that had a live band. That was a super nice touch. They were really good.
They were a really good band.
Oh, I loved that their his and her drink was their cats.
Oh yeah.
So Cheeto and Finn. Yep.
Cheeto, yeah.
And then we were on the hunt for some caffeine, just any kind of caffeine mixed drink kind of thing. Went to the bar, asked for espresso martini, didn't have espresso. Asked for vodka Red Bull, no Red Bull. Then one of my friends insisted he had seen a bar downstairs, and he would lead us to victory. So a few of us tumbled on down the stairs, went up to the bar, and apparently it was a members only bar for the golf club. So he told us to leave. Like, if you're here for the wedding, go upstairs. It's like, fine. One of my friends insists, no, like, here, I have $15. Let me get a Red Bull. He was like, sir, it's a $15,000 Red Bull. So we did not get Red Bull.
Because it was a members only bar
Yeah,
and
you had to buy the
membership
membership
was
as- yeah.
$15,000.
But we were in a slight panic because we were like, man, we need some caffeine. They did bring out coffee, which I don't know whose idea in the wedding planning process that was, but that was such a good touch and much needed because that's what kept the party going the rest of the night was the coffee break. And then Grandma Ruth.
Oh, yeah, you are obsessed with Grandma Ruth.
Well, she sat in front of us during the ceremony, and she kind of gave some play-by-plays or commentary during the ceremony. And then, come to find out, when speeches came around, she wasn't supposed to give a speech. She wanted to say something, and everyone's like, no, don't let her speak. Don't let her speak or whatever. And then the best man was like, I'm going to let her speak. And she gave off the best speech. She just roasted the groom.
In only a way a grandma could.
It was perfect. It was great.
The maid of honor speech was especially great because the bride has a pillow pet that she loves, and the maid of honor gifted the groom his own pillow pet during her speech.
So now another pillow pet enters the travel world.
I couldn't tell what kind of pillow pet it was, though.
Kind of looked like a bear.
It did kind of look like a
Like
bear.
a black bear pillow pet.
If you're listening, please tell us what animal is your new pillow pet. We're dying to know.
All right. And then unpacking our suitcases from last week. So the scenario,
Yes.
we'll just run through some of the stuff real quick as a refresher.
We went to Minneapolis. It was about 80 and kind of rainy when we were there. 3 days and 3 nights. We did share a checked bag, and then we each had our backpacks. So, quick refresher on what we packed. I packed 2 dresses, overalls, a pair of shorts, 2 shirts, a button-down, a romper, 2 shawls, my swimsuits. I had heels, loafers, and then my plain fit, which was a sweatsuit and sneakers. And then for my non-clothing essentials, I did have my work laptop, my book, The Ninth House, and then shout out to my bug spray. She did not let me down on this trip.
No bug bites?
No bug bites.
So did you pack too much? Too little?
I think I actually packed just the right amount of stuff for this trip because I usually always have at least one like bonus outfit, and this is where my next piece of advice will come in. But one of my outfits did not pan out, so I did have to wear my backup outfit.
Oh, it did get called into the game.
It did get called in.
And performed well?
Yes, I think it performed pretty well. That was for like the chill day. So that was when I wore like my shorts and my tank top with my button down instead of the t-shirt and overalls. And I think I just need to try stuff on before I pack it if it's something that I haven't worn in a while. So like obviously
the overalls?
Yeah. So like the wedding dress or the dress I wore for the wedding was a new dress. So I did try it on before. The fit wasn't exactly perfect, but I didn't have time to exchange it. So that worked out.
It looked great.
Thank you. I hadn't worn my overalls in so long, and I didn't try them on again before we left. And like they still fit, but they weren't like sitting the way that I wanted them to sit.
Just didn't feel right. Like
Yeah.
Goldilocks.
Yeah, so they just looked slightly off to me at least. So I ended up not wearing those. So yeah, I think moving forward, if I'm packing something that isn't something I wear often, just
At least
gotta
a quick
it
try on.
Yeah.
But you had enough space in the joint suitcase, right?
Yes, I did. I did. Thank you. You did stick to your half.
I learned. Fool me once. And then your signature fit?
So my signature fit was the outfit I wore for the wedding. It was the yellow floral tea-length dress with the pleating. I ended up swapping the blue flower earrings for these dangly, sparkly earrings. And then I wore my sage green heels. Sadly, rushed out without remembering to grab my shawl. Luckily, I didn't end up needing it because it was pretty warm. And then I had my nude clutch.
So, was it a hit? A miss?
I think it was a hit.
I liked it.
Yeah, you liked it?
I think it was a hit.
Yeah, I thought it was a hit. I did get a few compliments on it. One of the bridesmaids actually was wearing the same dress, but in the bridesmaid color. So
Really?
It looked completely different because mine was yellow with florals.
Yeah.
And they were wearing like that champagne-y color.
Oh.
But it was the same exact dress.
That's wild.
Yeah, I think they all picked their own dresses,
Yeah.
so they were from all different places.
It just it was for the color.
Yeah, it was just the color.
Well, I
So
thought.
yeah, I guess that means though that I was spot on with the dress code since I was wearing the same
Very
dress as
true.
a bridesmaid. But I do always feel a little awkward when I realize that I'm wearing like the same exact thing as someone else if it like wasn't planned. But I don't think unless you like were
I was
really
gonna say
looking,
because the colors were different and they didn't have the patterns on it, so I think
Yeah.
it was different enough that it wasn't.
and like obviously I wasn't like standing next to her or anything. So
Mm-hmm.
unless you were like really looking, you probably couldn't tell.
And I think because you made the call not to wear the blue earrings, I think the earring swap to something a little bit more simpler was a good call.
Yeah, I think that the blue flower earrings
I
would
think-
have been too much.
And I think those would have gone with the dress really well, but for this occasion, I think it was a good call.
The dress was pretty comfy though. Shout out Abercrombie.
Is that where it's from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought it was from one of those random online.
No, it's from Abercrombie. They have a really good dress selection.
I brought 3 pairs of shorts, a pair of black jeans, a sweater shirt, 3 t-shirts, black high-top Nikes and Nike running shoes, swimsuit, running outfit and pajamas, and then my plain fit of sweatshirt, jogger, shorts, and Crocs.
And how did it go? Did you pack enough? Too much? Too little?
I think I nailed it
Nice.
to a T. I had 1 extra shirt, an extra pair of shorts, and a pair of swimsuit I didn't wear, but I always like having, like you mentioned, the backup outfit, and this essentially was the backup outfit.
I see.
But in this case, I didn't have to use it. But if I were learning or taking how I packed this time for next time, I wouldn't change anything. I would still bring that extra outfit, and I would still bring a swimsuit, even though
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily use it.
Oh yeah, I didn't use my swimsuit either.
You just-
I forgot to include that.
It's just always brutal when you don't have one and you need one. So
Yeah, when it's like you're going to someone's pool or something and you're like, oh shit,
Yep.
I can't.
Well, and we have a friend with a hot tub, and if we ever go over there, you never know if we're gonna be using
True.
it. So
And we weren't sure if your mom's pool was going to be ready or not.
yep.
It
So
was not open for the season yet, but it could have been.
it could have been, and then we
So,
would have wished.
yes.
So always need a swimsuit.
And what was your signature fit?
So still not quite sure where we landed on the color, but we did get some comments.
Steel blue.
Steel blue. Yeah, I
I
was
think
gonna say.
that's the most accurate, actually.
Yes. Everyone, apologies. Did not describe the color of the suit well.
I didn't either. I do think it looked different in the bag than it did.
Oh yeah,
like,
once
out
I
and
had
about.
like the lighting, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a steel blue suit, pink floral button down underneath, with brown shoes and brown band watch. So I did have my brown shoes and brown belt and all the brown
Yes.
pieces at my parents' house. So that was clutch.
Yeah,
So
because that looked so much better than if you would have done black.
yeah, last week a lot of confusion on if I was going to wear brown or black because I didn't quite know what I had. But yeah, brown was the call.
Yeah. Do you think it hit?
Yeah, I do. I got a handful of compliments, and I personally just really like the look. So that's like my color blue. Besides my tux I got for our wedding, it's probably my favorite suit.
Yeah. I like that color a lot. And I liked that this was like the first time that we color coordinated.
I know, that was
They did
nice.
actually
Well-
go together.
We'll have to try maybe for the wedding we have in a few weeks. At least try with the undershirt.
Yeah, we could try.
The Suvos from the trip. These are takeaways. What we learned, anything we took away from the trip. Our Suvos.
Sun Country
Yeah, they're
are not great.
not. I wouldn't go as far to say as they're not great. They're just not for business travelers necessarily, in my personal opinion. And that's because they definitely play by a different rule. They would not let us check our bags more than, was it 3 hours before the flight?
Yeah.
So normally we get to the airport relatively early on our lunch break, so we don't have to take time off. We check in our bag, and then we just sit there because our flight's usually at like 6
yeah,
or
we
5.
usually like work from the lounge.
Yeah, it's usually an odd amount of time, but we don't want to like leave in the middle of the afternoon, have to take work off. So yeah, we normally get
And-
there early, drop off our bag, no problem. We get through security, post up at the lounge like you said, get some food,
They
work.
have like phone booths if we need to like take meetings.
But for whatever reason, they would not let us check our bag. But the longer we were there and the more as we went through the process for Sun Country to get onto the plane, I realized that they would have nowhere to put the bags. like it feels like Sun Country was very much they were begging for a spot at SeaTac, and SeaTac after like so many no's is finally like, fine, we'll give you a space. And they put them in the like maintenance zone is what it felt like. They weren't even close. The actual airplane of where you get on wasn't even close to the rest of the terminal.
No, we had to take a bus.
Yeah, like far away. Like
Yeah,
it felt like we completely left the airport.
Yeah, and we boarded like on the
On the
runway.
stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
like a
just
zigzag ramp up to the airplane.
it was bizarre. It was different.
Yeah.
And then the drink lady,
Mm-hmm.
when we were coming back, and they come by and pick up your last trash and tell you to put your seat up and your tray up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's fine. That's all normal business. So I put my tray up, put my seat up, and I was holding my cup of water. And the lady was like, oh, I just woke up from a nap, by the way. So I'm
Yeah.
a little groggy, kind of out of it. She's like, I need to take your cup. I'm like, I'm not done with it. And she's like, sir, I need to take your cup. And I'm
She
like,
said,
I'm
I
still...
can't let you land with the cup.
Yeah, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you
It was
mean I
so
can't
weird.
land with the cup? Is it a safety concern? What is the problem here? So I like stare at her, and she's like motioning like, give me the cup. And I would have kept arguing, but I was just in such a like fog. So I handed her the cup, and then the whole next and then when we're stuck on the tarmac for like an hour after we land, like I was so thirsty. It was so muggy in there, but I had no water.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know why the woman took the cup. I looked up if you're not allowed to have drinks on landing, but you have water bottles. And all the other flights we take, I normally just stuff it in the seat pocket.
Yeah.
And it's
The
like if it's...
Sorry, go
No,
ahead.
you can go.
The only thing, because like I know if you're flying first class and they give you glass cups, they do actually have to take them before you land because
That's
the
a
glass
safety
is a safety
concern.
hazard. But one time when we got like upgraded, they asked if we still wanted our drink. They would pour it into a plastic cup for us. Do you remember that?
Yep,
So
that was
you
to...
are allowed to land with plastic cups.
Mm-hmm.
That was just weird.
Yeah, that still bugs me. I don't know why. I just... Like, I know how that procedure works. Why was she taking my cup?
I don't know.
I should have poured in my water bottle. I don't know. It was really weird. It was a unique experience, to say the least.
Our one of our other takeaways was that you should double check the terminal that you're landing into because when we
Going to or landing, yeah.
when we landed in Minnesota, we were in Terminal 2.
Yeah, the second we walked off the plane, I was like, oh no.
You were like, "What gate is this?"
I was
And
like, this
H4.
is not the right terminal. I just knew.
Your dad was all the way at
Yep.
1.
And I looked at his location. Well, I looked to make sure, and I saw it was Terminal 2. And then I looked at my dad's location and was like, frick, we goofed up. And he thought the same thing. He's like, you always fly in Terminal 1.
Mm-hmm.
So just always double check.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yep.
Always bring cash on trips.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have to be a lot, but I feel like it's always good to have cash. I never have cash. I'm very much we're in 2024. We have Apple Pay. We have credit cards. Let's just use cards.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, there's still places that you need cash only.
Mm-hmm.
We were at
Vegas
the Vegas Lounge. They were cash only.
I used all of the cash that I had,
Mm-hmm. And
which
then
wasn't very much, but.
at the wedding, if you want to tip, cash.
Oh yes, because I couldn't tip the bartenders because I had no more cash.
And then, well, I tipped them because I used card later on, so they ended up getting tipped in the end. But
oh, that's right, I forgot.
it's just, just in case you have cash,
Mm-hmm.
it's better to just have cash, I feel like. And then, well, I guess not for this trip, but when we were in New York with the bride and groom from this wedding, I needed a photo with Santa on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, the groom, he had cash, but it's just, I feel like it's good to have
Yeah.
cash. And then recommended wedding drink. If you're going to consume alcohol, I highly recommend vodka water.
You were raving about your vodka waters.
I felt amazing the next day. Like I could have ran another 6 miles. I
Jesus.
didn't. I did not. But I could have if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. And then bag goes underneath the seat in front of you, not under the seat that you're sitting in.
Yes.
This was
Another-
a first.
Another interesting experience on our Sun Country flight.
Yes.
I went to sit down in the window seat. And as I'm trying to get settled, you're sitting down and I'm like in a panic as you're still trying to get in. And I'm like, there's like a bag underneath where I'm supposed to put my backpack, like in front of the seat in front of me. And I like kick it, tried to like push it through. And I was like, no, this is like, well, I wasn't sure if it was one of the like life preservers, or you know how sometimes they shove the safety stuff underneath there.
Yeah.
But then I like grabbed it. I'm like, that's definitely a backpack. I say, excuse me, to the woman in front of me. I'm like, hey, excuse me, ma'am. Or wait, did I get the backpack out first? Did I yank it through and then ask her?
No, you didn't. You asked her if it was her bag.
Under the seat.
And she said yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I thought she was trying to grab it from under her seat, but then she didn't. And that's when you pulled out the backpack.
Yeah. Yeah, so then I yanked it out because I was like, if she's not going to do anything about it, I still need to put at least my feet under there, but also.
Your backpack.
Yeah. So then I yanked the bag out, and I was trying to like give it to her, but she's like not paying attention. So then you flagged down the flight attendant.
Yeah, the flight attendant was just right by our row. So I took the backpack and I was like, excuse me, this is her bag in the row in front of us. Can you hand it to her? Because I think, well, then what we did see her later, she looked kind of young. Like,
Yeah.
not super young, but maybe she doesn't have a lot of flying experience. And like in school and stuff, like you put your backpack underneath your desk.
Yeah, she was probably like, I don't know, 14, 15.
Yeah, something
she was
like
flying with
that.
her mom, but she wasn't sitting by her mom.
Yeah. So then the flight attendant did hand her bag, and I'm assuming that she gleaned that it's supposed to go underneath the seat in front of you. That was just so.
It was just interesting because normally, like the
Bizarre.
seat underneath you, there's a bar.
Yeah, I'm honestly impressed that she was
So
able
she
to
really
get it.
stuffed that mofo in there.
Yeah. So just reminder to everybody that your bag goes underneath the seat in front of you.
All right, and now our airport review for the Minneapolis Airport Terminal 2. As mentioned, we thought we were going to Terminal 1, so was anticipating to do the Terminal 1 airport review, but we will certainly be back in Minnesota, and we'll be going through that airport or that terminal, so we will do that then. But the bag tag remains the same, MSP.
Yep.
But Terminal 2. Did you know there was a Terminal 2? You seemed really shocked when we came out of there.
I did not know there was a Terminal 2, but I guess I never knew that we had only ever been in Terminal 1.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I guess, do all airports have multiple terminals? I feel like though that not that they're connected, but like you could walk from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2 in a lot of airports.
Well, and I know for like Honolulu, they have 2 terminals, but the second terminal, the smaller one, is
It's
for
only-
Inner Island.
Yeah, Inner Island only. Yeah.
So,
Like, does
and like,
SeaTac have a Terminal 2?
well, I had mentioned it as
Oh,
a
yeah,
possibility
that's
for
right.
their long-term planning.
They only have one right now.
And actually, the gate that we flew out of would kind of start to be the area where they build Terminal 2.
Because we had to take a shuttle, didn't we?
Yeah, we
or
took
sorry,
it.
the bus.
Yep. But no, not every airport has 2 terminals.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't know that there was a Terminal 2, but I also didn't know that there was a Terminal 1.
Yeah, that's right. So, in terms of the review, so we'll kind of look at it the same way we've looked at the last few airports. We'll look at the layout, the efficiency, the food and shopping, and then the vibes. And then we will rate it out of 10 clouds. The layout is just 14 gates, one long airport, just a straight shot, unlike Honolulu and SeaTac, where they have kind of branches.
Yeah.
This is just one long section. So, honestly, impossible to get lost. If your gate's not on one side, just walk
Walk
5
the other
minutes
way.
straight the other way, and you're bound to find your gate or whoever you're looking for.
It was pretty efficient, I think. Like, the check-in process was pretty fast. You guys will be excited to know that we even met a fan of the pod.
We did meet a fan
Out
of the
in
pod.
wild. When we checked in our bag, she said, "Here's your bag tag."
And we both started like laughing and
We were like,
grinning.
"How
She
did
knows.
She know?"
She didn't ask for an autograph, but she was just a modest fan.
Yeah, I'm sure she was just, being modest. One thing, though, that I will say is a tick on the cons side was that there was no TSA pre-check line.
No, I'm like pretty sure they canceled it right as we were walking up.
Literally, right when we were walking up, the guy was moving the sign, and he moved it to be where the general TSA line was. And then as we were walking down, I was like, does that mean we're going to have to take our shoes off?
And we had to take our
And
shoes
sure enough,
off.
we had to take our shoes off. I was so annoyed because that's like my favorite thing about TSA pre-check is that you don't have to take your shoes off. So that was quite a bummer that they did that. I guess because it just wasn't busy enough to justify having a TSA pre-check line, but they should do what they do at the Sea Spot Saver, where they like give you a little piece of paper
that says
if
you're
pre-checked,
pre-checked, so then you
'cause-
can kind of skip some of that stuff even though you have to go through the normal line.
Exactly.
And then for food, we didn't eat there, but I did notice they have so many different Mexican restaurants in terms of, like, if they have 5 restaurants, I would say 3 of them are Mexican restaurants.
And apparently, you can't get Mountain Dew in Mexico because all of those little signs were like, no
Oh, yeah.
Mountain Dew in Mexico. Get one here.
Yeah,
That was
was
so strange.
It's true, though, because everyone always talks about the Mexican Coke, and I don't ever remember seeing Mountain Dew in Mexico.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess maybe people in Minnesota just really love Mountain Dew.
I love Mountain Dew.
I know, and you're from Minnesota, so.
And then they have a wine bar that looked cool in, like, the center of the airport.
Oh, yeah.
With the, like, chandeliers made out of wine bottles.
Was that the one that had like the red?
Yep, the Surdix
Yeah.
wine bar thing.
Yeah,
looked
that
promising.
looked super cool.
There's a Subway.
Is it really an airport if there's not a subway?
And then they have a whole section of, like, high-tech vending machines.
Yes, the high-tech vending machines. They even had an Illy coffee like vending machine. I did use one of the vending machines. I'm glad that I got the chips from that vending machine because on the flight there were no snackies to be had. I should have gotten 2 bags of chips.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I snagged half of those.
No, but we needed those, so that was great that they had. The vending machines had like a decent selection of stuff too. And then like as far as stores go, they kind of just had the basics, the Hudson News, an MSP store.
Yeah.
That was kind of it.
Nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, no.
And then overall vibes, it was very humid in there. Made me a little uncomfortable.
It was.
And they had basically like the yellow fluorescent lighting of like a 1990s office building. Yeah, it was like fine. Like, wouldn't want to like hang out there necessarily, but like it was an airport.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess out of 10 clouds, what would you rate this airport?
This is only for MSP Terminal 2. I'm giving Terminal 2 4 clouds.
4 clouds.
It's debating between 3 and 4.
Okay.
3 sounds really mean.
And any specific, like, that was the tipping point or the reason you gave it?
I had to take my shoes off.
Okay, that's fair.
So
It gets
maybe
the-
I would give it a 3.
Okay. So, final cloud count?
I'm going to say 3. I'm
3.
sorry, MSP Terminal 2.
And I rate it a 5.
Oh!
I think it's the most basic, most average airport you could ask for.
Oh, now I feel
Nothing-
mean.
No, that's okay. That's how you feel. That's what you got to rate it. Nothing really notable. No real complaints from me. It's just basic airport. So I felt like I had to give it right in the middle.
Also, I have to say, no lounges. All of the lounges at
lounges.
MSP are all in Terminal 1.
Okay. So, I mean,
So-
but then when we look at the average now, because it will average down to 4, I feel like that works out then
Yeah.
as a cloud ranking. So it now is in last place of our 3 airport reviews. We have MSP Terminal 2 with a 4 cloud rating, then H&L at 5.5, and then SeaTac at 7.5 clouds. So stay tuned.
What in the world is going on with French airports?
Well, for the last 18 months, airports in France have been facing strikes. And the latest strike is from air traffic controllers, and it's set to take place June 11th through June 13th.
Oh, wow.
So today. It starts
Oh, yeah,
today.
literally today. Wow.
And the strike is impacting Paris-Orly, the second largest airport in France, behind Charles de Gaulle. This was the airport that we had flown in and out of
Yes.
when we were there 2 years ago.
When we got engaged.
Yes. Definitely impacts some international travel from Americans at least. And the last strike that took place was in May, and it caused about 70% of flights at the airport to get canceled.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's making an impact, which is kind of the whole point of a strike.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they're protesting for higher wages, and there has been growing concerns as Air France has moved much of their operations to Charles de Gaulle that there's a deprioritization by the French civil aviation to move the focus solely to Charles de Gaulle, which means one of the workers said it truly feels like Paris Orly is being, as he said, relegated to second place.
I see. So they're striking because Air France is moving so much to Charles de Gaulle.
Well, it's that, and then because like the job stability, all that kind of stuff with your major airline, all of their operations are there. You're just gonna have less business traffic at the Paris Orly. But the thing is, it's still the second biggest airport in France, and while it already was the second, kind of losing a top carrier like that just kind of puts the nail in the coffin.
Oh, I see. Like they were closer. First and second airports basically were like closer, but now they're saying that the gap is getting so big that it's starting to impact stuff. Okay.
And then at the end of the day, it will impact jobs and pay and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, and it's not yet known whether the strike will impact overflights, and those are flights that don't take off or land in France but go over the France airspace. We're not sure if those flights will be impacted because they do radio in to air traffic controllers. Obviously, some of the other airline or other airports can take on some of that air traffic communication, but couldn't take all of it. So Ryanair has already canceled 100 flights in preparation. Ryanair being the biggest airline in Europe, so that's a big deal. And then since 2023, French ATC, that's the air traffic control group, they've disrupted 84 days of travel with strikes. So in the last 18 months, they've impacted 84 days. And that's led to cancellation of thousands of flights across Europe, including routes from Germany, Spain, Italy, Ireland, and the UK. So just something to keep in mind for anyone traveling through France this summer, to just be very aware of what's going on, as there is a lot of disruption due to strikes. And definitely couldn't be coming at a better time for France because they do not have anything major going on this summer.
You're joking, right?
Reminder, they have the Olympics.
The Olympics are coming up soon.
A very huge traffic draw. So yeah, hopefully the airport and the air traffic controllers can work something out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it is bad timing, but
Smart by the air traffic control people,
Yeah.
because that's when you're going to get the most push to get this worked out
that's
and
when you have the
resolved.
most leverage,
Yep.
right? They're like, if you want your Olympics to go smoothly, give us what we want.
So we'll definitely keep an eye, and we'll keep you guys updated.
Yep. Good luck to the French ATC.
And then a quick update from the flight deck is following up on everything going on at Boeing. They did submit a plan to the FAA at the end of May as a requirement after the issue with the Alaska door flying off one of their Boeing planes. In the response from the FAA, they did not yet give approval for production to start back up on the 737 MAX planes. People are anticipating those will go back into production around the beginning of August. And then the CEO of Boeing is set to testify before the Senate on June 18th about all the whistleblower complaints and allegations, as well as quality control issues at the factories. The hearing was specifically flagged because a company engineer alleged that the assembly of the Boeing 787 Dreamliners, the way that they assemble them, puts excess stress on the planes and reduces their lifespans. Boeing says that's inaccurate, but they will face the Senate on June 18th to go over that.
Kind of concerning.
Yeah, so the 737 and 787 kind of like their two staples right now.
Yeah. Also, like, can they diversify the names of these airplanes? Like,
I know, because
737, 787,
I think right now it's 737, 787.
747.
Yeah, well, the 747, sadly, they stopped production of those, but those are the
Oh.
double-decker ones.
Oh,
Their 777, that's the plane. That's like the main one.
the 777 is?
Yeah,
Oh.
those are like, I like 777s.
Oh, I'm going to look up like a diagram of these. I love how you just know off the top of your head what all these airplanes are.
Well, I always it started by looking at the little diagrams when you get on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating. But yeah, the fact, I know, I want them to, I've been trying to keep an eye out if they're going to make a 797, but because I assume that would be the next one.
And what would that be?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
It doesn't have a design.
No, well, there's a lot of fantasies out there of like what people like, this is what it's going to look like. And then you know how it's never actually what it looks like.
Okay, if anyone has a fantasy for the 797,
Hit us up.
know. Let us know. We can start taking bets. All right, folks, the time has arrived. We've been teasing it for a while. It's time for our movie review of Airplane. So, hopefully you've all watched. So, Wyatt, what did you think of Airplane?
I liked it. I thought it was exactly comedy-wise what I expected it to be. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's the top 5 funniest movie of all time. I can very well see, in the 80s that it's like this was one of the top 5, and then I'm sure some of that is just carried over the years. I thought it was funny. I thought it was good, and it was like pretty lighthearted. Like overall, the plot was very kind of surface level top. Like it didn't require a lot of thinking. It was very much of a sit back, relax, just kind of enjoy what you're watching. You don't have to think. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was just kind of a funny, goofy story. What about you?
It was exactly kind of what I thought it was going to be. Well, maybe, I don't want to say it was exactly what I thought it was going to be, but it was in the same vein of like what I had thought going into it. Some of the comedy did catch me by surprise a few times, because I was like, this movie's from 1980, like, and the comedy, some of it felt like it would be lines that like a movie today would have in it.
Did you have one line specifically that?
Oh my gosh.
That's okay if you don't.
I can't think off the
That's
top
okay.
of my head. I'm sorry. And then there was that one part. There were 2 parts, actually. And I don't know if it was the same lady, but, like, when the plane caught turbulence, it would just randomly pan to, like, just her boobs, like, shaking. And then the second time it happened, she was
topless.
shirtless. Yeah. And I was like,
Why'd they do that?
They put this in here? Like, it was one of those, like, what the heck? Or, like, when he was talking to the lady about the war, or like why it didn't work out between him and the flight attendant that he's like basically stalking, and then she's like so bored with listening to him talk, and then you turn over and she like hung herself from the overhead cabinets.
Yep.
Like there were just some
and
moments
then it happened again. The guy starts stabbing himself, right?
yeah, and then
And
the
then
last guy was saved,
he was almost gonna
set himself on fire.
Yep.
Which honestly, that didn't age very well.
I don't know why I thought the scene where the one chick was freaking out and he was like, get it together, and he like slaps her, and then like a line forms, and like there's the different
like,
people
I'll
with
take
like
it from here.
like the one lady had like a cane she was gonna smack her with, and
someone had a gun.
yeah, it was just very bizarre.
Very, very bizarre.
I thought the best kind of joke wasn't even necessarily like a quote or a vocal quote or a vocal joke, was the fact that the main character, I don't even remember his name, he was a taxi driver. He leaves the guy in the taxi at the airport.
Yeah.
He starts the
very
meter.
beginning.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the movie, he gets a passenger. He pulls off to the side and says, I'll be right back. Starts his meter and then leaves. And I was like, oh, I'm going to remember this. I'll come back to this. And then 10 minutes later, I forgot about it. And then at the end of the movie, when there's 10 minutes left, they cut back to the guy still sitting in the taxi, and he's racked up like
$1,200 or something.
an insane taxi rate, and he hasn't moved at all. I thought that was a funny
That was
funny joke, but
I did like the. I didn't know that the "Don't Call Me Shirley" was from this movie.
That's probably the most famous line that came out of here. And I think the best or the funniest character was the doctor.
Oh,
I think he had the best lines when he was talking about the hospital and then they were like, what is that? And he starts describing the hospital and they're like, no, like, what is the disease that you're talking about?
Yeah, it was that, and there was one other part. That was something that I liked. I liked those jokes because...
What was it we had for dinner tonight? And they're like, well, you had a choice of steak or fish. And he's like, oh, right, I had lasagna. Didn't really make any sense. Then he also had the part where he said, how soon can you land the plane? And the captain was like, I can't tell. And he's like, you can tell me, I'm a doctor. And he's like, no, I mean, I'm not sure. And he's like, well, can't you take a guess? And he says, well, not for another 2 hours. And he's like, you can't take a guess for another 2 hours? So he takes everything very, very literally.
Yeah.
And I also liked how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in it, and they alluded to him playing for the Lakers the whole time. I thought that was fun. And then he broke character to call out the kid's dad.
Oh, yeah, he did.
So I thought that was good. Any other comments on the movie?
Not really. I did hate the main character.
The guy. Yeah, he was just creepy.
He was creepy, and he was just a douche, and...
Yeah, him and the pilot, I think, were the two worst characters.
Oh, yeah, the main pilot?
Yeah.
That was like a pedophile?
Yeah, that was...
That was so weird.
For, no reason. It was just unnecessarily creepy.
Those were, like, they weren't even, like, funny. They
Yeah, I
were
was going to
just,
say,
like,
that's the thing.
jarring, like, the lines
it wasn't
that
done
he
in a
had.
way that you can, like
Like,
laugh
the little
about.
kid comes up because he's never seen a cockpit before, and the flight attendant brings him in.
What do you say? Have you ever seen a man naked?
Yes, to, like, this 8-year-old. And
he was
just
like, do you ever shower?
"What?"
Did you say you ever shower at the gym or something?
Something like that. I don't know. It was very weird. Like, what?
Yeah, it was just weird. But
Uncomfy.
overall, what would you rate the movie on your letterbox?
So, on my
Out of 5?
Letterboxd, I gave it a 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for you. For a comedy type that.
I know. I thought about giving it a 2. I did chuckle at some parts. All in all, I could maybe give it a 2. I've just realized that I think sometimes I'm too nice with my ratings. But yeah, I think I gave it a 2.5. I was like, you know what? I think the comedy was probably, like, ahead of its time. Some of it was, like, unexpectedly really funny.
Mm-hmm.
But then some of it was just, like, not in great taste, not really for me. So I was like, oh, like, if somebody told me that that was their favorite movie, I wouldn't be like, oh, I hated it. But also, I'm not going to go around telling people that it was a great movie. So
No, that's fair.
I felt like 2.5 was just like, it was middle of the ground, kind of.
I really, really wanted to love this movie. Mm-hmm. But I gave it a 3.
Oh.
I felt like it was very... Oh, yeah, like I said at the beginning, kind of what you would expect going into this in terms of the comedy, and the plot was very kind of surface level. It was a fun plot for the movie and being a comedy, but, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to it. So I felt like it was just a good, I don't know, light movie.
Yeah. Like, I feel like you could turn this on and, like, not really have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Or, like, you could be multitasking, or, like, you could watch this on an airplane.
Yeah, it probably would be a great airplane movie.
It probably would be.
But next up, we'll do a watch review of the TV show, Season 1 of The Tourist, which is on Netflix. And we'll do that review on July 2nd.
I think we only have 1 episode left,
Yeah.
right?
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good. I have been enjoying it.
It's a drama.
So very different vibes from
Yep.
the movie Airplane.
And I think it came out in like 2022, Season 1 1 so and we're only doing Season 1.
It's like fairly recent. I don't even think there is a Season 2.
There's a Season 2.
Oh, did
yeah.
Season 2 just drop? Or something like
it's
Oh.
there is a Season 2.
that? Okay. Well, anyways, on July 2nd, The Tourist, Season 1 review.
Guys, got about 3-4 weeks to go.
So if you haven't started it or watched it,
Highly recommend.
yeah, there's only 6 episodes, so you still have time, even if you're going to start it now.
All right, until next time, book the flight.
Have a Biscoff.
One thing very clear. If you ever gonna love me, you better boot up. Come prepared. Nowhere to run, don't even bother. Come with me, 'cause I'm